And we've now got chronic margin suppression because of oversupply. High inventories, high inventory value, floor plans, margin suppression, bit of a perfect storm. What dealerships don't do, stop, drop the heart rate, get in a helicopter, go above your business and look down on it. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing tomorrow as you're doing today, expecting a different result. So if you want your business to improve, you're going to need to do something differently. A real erosion in experience and talent in our industry. We've had a lot of people transition out. A lot of people get promoted quickly into management or leadership roles with no experience. They're usually the best sales consultant, service advisor. They're a really solid technician or a good interpreter. And we bump them up into this supervisory leadership role, and they've never had people working for them. The thing that I've had to unlearn is how to lead and manage Ys and Zs, generations. Because to treat them the way that I was treated, or how I led and managed in my early years with X's, will not work today.
Welcome to Unlock Potential with David Archibald. I believe every leader has two jobs: grow the business and grow the people. And today I'm joined by someone who is doing both for decades. Chris Downie, founder of Silver Bullet. Chris helps dealerships around the world simplify operations, energize teams, and move from chaos to clarity. In this conversation, we go deep on what's really holding dealerships back, how to create consistency in a disruptive market, and what it takes to lead through change. If you lead people or care about performance, this episode is going to give you something real to take away. Let's dive in. Chris, thanks for coming all the way from Australia to join me here in Vietnam. I know you're on vacation now, and I appreciate you taking a few minutes to come in and talk to me today. I appreciate that.
Thanks, David. Wow, what a beautiful country you've got here. 2 weeks in, couple of days to go before we head home. Had the best time.
That's
just the best time.
Yeah, it is pretty great.
Yeah.
I was fortunate enough to meet you through a Harley program that was teaching dealer principals, how to do their job, basically. And I was fortunate to at least have one face-to-face class with you in Australia. And I remember very vividly, it was March 6th, because
the date.
Because the day I flew back was the day they were preparing to close the airport during 2020. And then this class lasted for, several weeks. And you had to and we did it on Zoom.
We did.
And I will never forget how you were able to really keep our attention. I think you did an excellent job on that.
Oh, thank you.
Keeping our attention, because it's so easy to drift off or be distracted, and you kept, either you're really good or really loved what you were talking about. I'm not sure which one it was.
I'm going to, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go with both.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Now, Chris, you do some consultant work through Silver Bullet, and that's how I met you.
Yeah.
And I was really blown away, on how your knowledge of dealerships were and the ins and outs, especially being able to just convert that into the motorcycle industry, because primarily you're in automotive industry.
Yep.
And I tell people every day, hey, this is just like cars, just more clothing and some more parts and stuff. But truly, there are some nuances there. And you did an excellent job at that. Thanks a lot.
And you know what? That was 5 years ago.
I know, it's crazy.
5 years ago we did that.
Yeah.
I never want to hear the word Zoom again.
Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty bad.
Absolutely. So I'm actually coming up to 40 years in the industry come the end of this year. So a long time in, just short of 10 years consulting with my business, Silver Bullet Business Advisory. We're up to 8 guys in our team now.
Oh, good.
So we've really built up, and we do a lot of work now in truck, car, and also in the bike industry as well. But that time, and you go back 5 years ago, we initially thought the sky was falling in and everything was done and dusted. And we needed to very quickly toggle to a different platform in order to maintain training. And we found Zoom. And it worked for that period, for that 2 year period, it worked wonderfully. I think we all got worn out using Zoom in the end, but it certainly kept us connected during a really disconnected time.
It sure did. Yeah, Alicia did a really good job at that at Harley. Also, she did really good to keep everybody in line and show up on time.
Absolutely. And we did it. Well, Luke, from your team also attended the Asian market training program.
Yes.
So we ran it. You joined the Australian New Zealand cohort. So we had that collective, and then we had the Asian market collective as well, and ran the same program for both groups.
Yeah, that was really good.
My goodness, a lot's changed in the last 5 years.
We worked on 5-year strategic business plans during that time.
There you go.
And I can't even get my head around thinking on a 2-year now. Things are changing so fast. Even a 2-year seems like, how am I supposed to figure this out?
Yeah, it's interesting when you reflect back 5 years ago and you look at where the market is today. There's a lot of similarities, but there's some extremely hard pain points. And the big pain points that we see at the moment is everything's 30+% dearer. In our market in particular, our interest rates have moved up from 3% to 8%. So if you're mortgaging or floor planning your inventory, straight up, you're 30% dearer and you're paying 5% more in interest. And now we've got, like all OEMs, they've found the way to make one too many vehicles, and we've now got chronic margin suppression because of oversupply, high inventories, high inventory value, floor plans, margin suppression, bit of a perfect storm. And this has been going on, I see, in bike and car for over 12 months now, and in truck in the last just shy of 12 months. And it's become very difficult for dealers and operators to make money at the moment.
Oh, yeah. That floor plan, ooh,
that is the killer.
Oh, yeah. I had a guy that really taught me the motorcycle industry that he told me that the worst word in the English language was flooring.
I go back to when I was in retail running a large dealer group 15 years ago. The amount of inventory I was carrying across 15 locations, I've got clients with single dealerships carrying that value of inventory today.
Oh,
it is at 8%, which is just insane.
Yeah, not sustainable, that's for sure.
No.
Now, you spend a lot of time helping dealerships improve operations. What's one challenge you're seeing today that wasn't common 5 years ago, but now it's like make or break performance?
Look, we could spend hours just picking certain things off. What our business has evolved into over time is we run profit improvement groups, commonly known as PIGs, but profit improvement groups where we get dealer operators and owners together to look at their data side by side. As a result, we do a lot of in-dealership consultancy where we'll go into specific areas or overall in their business and focus, or we do our training programs. And I'm going to hone in on the training program piece. What we've seen most evidently in the last 2 years is a real erosion in experience and talent in our industry. We've had a lot of people transition out, and it doesn't have the desirability that it deserves to have, the industry. So we haven't done a good job of promoting the next generation to come in. And so what we're finding is then a lot of people get promoted quickly into management or leadership roles with no experience. They're usually the best sales consultant, service advisor. They're a really solid technician or a good interpreter. And we bump them up into this supervisory leadership role, and they've never had people working for them. So we've honed in big time on that program, and we call that Tomorrow's Leaders, where we're just developing we're using a lot of the tools that are out there and teaching them how to understand themselves, other people, how to lead, manage, and deal with conflict.
No, that's really...
So you know what? That's not automotive. That could be anything, but we make it automotive specific. Yeah,
that's really good.
So that'd be the go-to bit for me.
That's really strong, and that's something that I've seen over the years, and I've made those mistakes early in my career also by maybe promoting the best sales guy.
We've all done it,
and he turns out to be the worst manager possible. And I started to realize that good leadership really is about other people. And the best performing sales guys typically only care about themselves, and that's what makes them good salespeople, where they're able to just worry about themselves and consistently do something. And a lot of times the guy that's maybe third on the board is maybe the best choice.
Well, he's the one that's usually, he or she are the ones that are usually mopping things up behind the scenes and keeping the team moving forward. I agree with you.
Yeah, no,
It's finding that right person, promoting them, training and developing them.
Yeah, no, they're really good. I think that's super important. That's really what my channel's about, is trying to unlock potential in the people that, we're leading, and how to identify those people and say, hey, okay, this person's got something I think we could work with. And that's really good. Silver Bullet focuses on creating clarity and consistency. Where do most dealerships get stuck, and how do you guys help them get unstuck?
Well, that's a huge question, because it could be in any one of the functional areas that make up a dealership's operations. So whether it be new vehicles, used vehicles, finance, insurance, aftermarket accessories, parts and service, it could be any one of those areas. And I got to tell you, if we had time, I'd love to take you through. We got more benchmarks that you could poke a stick at. So it's always what dealerships don't do, or I'll say the operator, the general manager, the dealer principal, the owner, what they don't do enough of: stop, drop the heart rate, get in a helicopter, go above your business and look down on it, because a lot of them are just in it every day, and understand exactly where your business is by its functional areas and the balance of your business to see where your opportunities are. And that's what we don't do enough of. I think I'm doing a good job. You look at the numbers, well, maybe I'm not. So it's taking that time to concentrate on those specific areas. And then also, if an area is evidently underperforming and you've attempted to fix it and you can't fix it, get someone to help you. And I'm not promoting the need for consultants to come in. You can use people in your business, people in your cohort or relationships or advisory, but get somebody else to come in and look at it with a fresh set of eyes. And in a lot of cases, will repeat what you already know. What I find, interestingly, is a lot of staff will react from a consultant coming in, even though the boss may have said the same thing. But then they start to believe, well, the outside world know how to do it. I think I will change. So it's really just taking the time to look at your business, see where your opportunities or weaknesses are, do something about it, whether you do it yourself or get support to do it.
Yeah, that's good.
And don't accept the way that it is. I've got a dealer principal of a large BMW dealership in the inner eastern suburb of Melbourne in Australia. And he's what would he be? He'd be early 50s. He just drives his business where most people would, if they ran that same dealership, would say that's as good as it gets. He just adds another 20 and 30% on top of it, pushes, and actually gets there.
Yeah, that's really good. Now, how important is it to ask somebody to look at your blind spots as a dealer principal? Like, where do you rate that as something that's incredibly important or not?
Well, the blind spots, in a lot of cases, can be the areas that the dealer principal has not come from. So they're not as familiar with the parts operations, or, if they're a front of house operator, it could be service, it could be parts, and vice versa. And then just digging into those, we're comfortable with what we know, and a lot of dealer principals stay within that lane when they get the big job. I think it's critical, and that comes back to that stop, drop the heart rate down, look at your business properly, find the blind spots, and do something about it.
Yeah, that's super important. That's right. When a dealership owner calls you in, what's the first thing you listen for that tells you whether the team is aligned or misfiring?
Well, okay, let me use an example there of, let's say, a service department. So I've been called in by an owner-operator who said, help me with my service department. The first thing that I would do, or any of my team members would do, and I've got a couple of guys that are just exceptional in service department. So both Raymond and David, and also Andrew, really strong in this part of our business. We get a copy of their financials before we enter the premises. the financials tell the story pretty quickly, and you can see whether it be mix, gross margins, expenses. You can just see where, okay, I can see where things are potentially going wrong in this business. So we do that first. And then what we'll do is we'd typically go into the business. We'd spend time with the dealer principal, minimal time, and we're straight down to the manager, and we spend several hours with the manager. And then we would not circle back to that manager until later on the second day. And we're going and talking to technicians and foremen and controllers. We're talking to the the service advisors, booking coordinators. We're really getting into all the people within the business, and we're understanding them as individuals, how they go at their job, the processes that the dealership have, the adherence to the processes. My favorite one is the ability to sell. Are we actually selling? I know we're a service department, but we're here to sell. Do we sell? So we look at all of those, and typically you will find half a dozen plus big ticket items that they need to focus on in order to improve their business. And the service department is very methodical. It's very process driven. You find where the opportunities are pretty quickly.
Yeah. How do you approach getting people to let their guard down to come in? Oh, because I can feel it right now. I know this feeling is the consultants come in and everyone's guard goes up.
Okay.
How do you do that?
So, silver bullet. There's a couple of reasons why we're called silver bullets. We've all got either grey hair or no hair. So, we've all been around for 30 plus years in the automotive industry. Myself and a couple in that 40-year mark. We're only doing this. Look, we make an earn out of it, but we're only really doing this because we're now giving back to our industry that we've adored for so long. And we've done these things. We've run these departments and these businesses, and we know what works and doesn't work. And we're really there to help, which sounds odd. We're not, very rarely we're OEM led. We have a few OEMs that we do work with, but in most cases, the dealers called us and said, help. And so the situation's quite different when you're going into the business. There's more receptiveness to the grey-headed person with the experience, but also the fact that we've come in independently to spend time in your or someone's business. And you know what? You get a lot more bees with honey than you do with vinegar. And so we don't have any vinegar.
Yes, that's really good. And, when someone finally realizes you really are there to help, the guard will come down, but it takes a couple days sometimes.
It does.
Especially in service and things of that nature. I know how that feels.
Oh, it does. But I tell you what, when you go back to a business months later, say to review, and they've implemented things and there's been change and positive change, we walk away, the only word I can think of is absolutely chuffed that they've gone and done something about our recommendations and it's had a positive effect.
No doubt. That's
that's why we do it.
That's the satisfaction you get to know that you worked hard and then it helped out both people, and them.
Particularly when they can turn around a loss-making situation into profit. Man, that is so good.
Yeah, that's awesome. Now, you've worked at a lot of different markets and different dealerships in different markets. What's one small change that consistently can deliver big results?
If you're not, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing tomorrow as you're doing today, expecting a different result. So if you want your business to improve, you're going to need to do something differently. So if we agree that some kind of change is required to improve my business, first step. The second step then is you can't eat an elephant whole. You've got to take it in chunks to chew it and swallow it, 3 things at a time. So we can come up with a dozen recommendations, but you know what? Let's prioritize these and let's pick one off at a time, run with 3. Another client, truck dealer in rural Victoria, which is a state within Australia, large truck dealer. I started coaching the service manager lovely young man. And when I say young, he's well in his 30s. And we came up with a lot of different things that we could do. We picked 3. We started with 1, and it was a structural change in his business by moving some key people around. And we said, let's do that first, bed that down, get it established, then we'll move to the next step. And when you do it like that, then you see change. If you come in with 20 recommendations, nothing will get done. That's too much.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I see that over and over again. When we want to change things here at work, you got to be able to bring it in very small because it gets too big. Well, yeah, that has a beautiful sound, isn't it? Harley Davidson just rode by. Yeah, that's great. Can you take us back to a moment in your journey when you realized the old way of doing business just wasn't good enough anymore?
The old way, and just having to change it up.
And don't tell me the yellow pages, because I'm kidding.
No, but I have a funny story because one of the ladies that work within our team, Gillian, was the marketing and sales director for Yellow Pages in Australia.
Yeah.
And she's famously known in that market for releasing a couple of TV commercials. And if you ever got time, look at the ad called Not Happy Jan. And it was a particular ad, and that was her advertisement. And everywhere we go where Gillian is, we always introduce her as the lady that did Not Happy Jan. And everyone in Australia knows that particular ad. My God, I lost track then. Where were we?
I was asking, what's something that you used to do, you realized it just doesn't work anymore?
I might turn that one slightly on its head. And it would be more the case of when I was in retail, I would regularly try and go to other businesses to see what they were doing. I'd try and go to as many environments like NADA convention in the US or local conventions or just other businesses to see what they were doing, to see what products could help me in my business to implement, and to grab them and drive the change. If they could help me move the businesses that I was running up a level, then I would grab them. I wouldn't get stuck on my way's better than yours. I'd just constantly try and find the next thing to move the business progressively up. That would be hopefully
that's learning and keeping an open mind on things is super important.
Look, and I've had phone calls where people would say, hey, I've met this guy that's got this product. You've got to go and see it. And I'm straight in the car. I'll zip over there and go and see what's new and if that could help me in my business.
Yeah, that's really good. Especially nowadays, everything's changing so fast. Man, gosh, incredible. What advice would you give a sales manager who says, hey, man, my team just isn't motivated anymore?
Wow. Okay. I would need to understand the situation more before I would give advice. Now, this is the thing with me. I'm more left brain and I will go in and look at the processes within the department first. I'd want to understand, are we running a tight ship? People lose motivation if they're not selling, doing deals and delivering vehicles. They're the fundamentals of what they do. And if there's not enough traffic generation to lead generation to test ride drives, quoting and deals, something's gone wrong in the business. So where's the process? What is the traffic flow into the business? What are we doing about that? And then when we do get it, how well are we managing it? That would be always, I'd go through that process to then that would answer me where the motivation's at. And I've never seen an unhappy sales team when they're flying.
Yeah.
Exactly. If there's plenty of inquiry around, all the problems disappear and we get on with business.
So I hear you saying that you need to find the momentum, keep the momentum. So as a sales manager, how do you help get momentum rolling?
There are 3 sources of doing that. There is, first of all, the natural walk-in. So there's the walk-in phone inquiry or e-lead that will just come to you. So if that's not enough on a good conversion rate, The second port of call is to then, and this is not my strength, and this is when I call on others, is driving the right level of marketing and advertising and social media. And we touched on that before we started our discussion today. It's that playing a key role to drive traffic to lead generation. And then there's the other key aspect, and that's your existing owners. Your existing owners for repeat and referral business. How well are you managing them?
I think most people don't manage them at all.
No,
I think forget about them and move on.
I would say the bike industry is the high-end bike industry is quite good with it. Prestige cars are quite good with it. And I'd say the truck industry is pretty good at they're okay at it. I'd say they're better than the car industry. And the truck industry is because there's a lot of relationship selling in there.
Yeah.
And there's lifelong relationships in that industry. Yeah.
Yeah, that's your selling really on relationship, not in emotion, or no one's under the ether when they want to go buy the company a new pickup truck.
Well, and the truck is about generating income for a business as opposed to, it's not that, it's this to side.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's exactly right. What's one overlooked number or process that most dealers should be paying attention to?
There'd be lots of them.
Yes.
I would say the one that's least looked at by dealer principals would be the gross margin percentages achieved in their parts and accessory operations. Again, if they're front-end loaded or they've come from a service background, are they getting the right level of margin generated for their retail counter, for their workshop retail? Are they getting the best possible margin for their warranty, parts claiming, for their internal markups, and then getting their overall reseller and getting their overall GP in that right band? That would be a lot of them, to a large degree, accept what they get from their managers.
Yeah.
Where they're not having those conversations about, well, how can we find an extra 2%?
Yeah. Yeah. In the motorcycle business, you're on that way more than I think on the car side. Car side's oil change, fast moving parts stuff, and then you kind of forget about the accessory stuff compared to motorcycles because people are building and customizing and trying to put their own personal spin on it.
Which is your opportunity to obtain the best possible margins for you, and you deserve to.
That's right.
Because that's built into your model. Yeah.
With electric cars, what's now a good absorption rate for service departments?
I don't think it should change by any means or stretch of the imagination.
Okay.
So my view around battery electric vehicles is that the noise to the acceptance in the markets are two completely different things. I'll probably get myself in a lot of trouble saying this, but I reckon that pushed as hard as it possibly can be by governments and industry bodies and all the rest of it may get it to 15% in a marketplace. If you let it fly naturally, it's going to be around 7-8%. Early adapters, people that just want to take a battery electric vehicle, it suits their profile. They can do 150 Ks a day, charge up overnight. That works. So we're seeing a spike in BEV in say the Australian New Zealand market to now dropping back down, and it will drop further again when government incentives drop off it. And so I'm promoting to my clients, do not stand back or deviate from a 60% absorption from a car dealer or a car dealer. For a truck dealer, light medium, 80 to 90%, and 100% for a heavy truck dealer.
Oh, okay.
100%. I'll get in trouble with a particular client for saying 100 because he's well north of that. 100+% for heavy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, that's big on heavy. I know that depending on what brand you also have, it drives that number up quite a bit. A Toyota dealer will have maybe 100%, 120%, because that person really understands and really tries to maintain their car, where in U.S., the normal domestic brand wouldn't even come close to that without a lot of work. So
Well, there's so much competition to trying to draw, and it's the same in most markets, just trying to draw the client away from the brand. And that comes back to, we're talking about generating sales from your database. It's just as critical in your service department that you've got the right contact regime for your database and slicing that data correctly based on customer profile, type of product that they own and drive, to get the best level of retention and then to get the best level of return per repair order or work order.
Yeah. I think that a lot of times people are like, well, you're just trying to sell, but at the end of the day, really, you're just trying to make sure they don't have an issue in the future. And a lot of people just, something breaks, timing belt broke. Oh, I didn't even know. No one even told me. It's like
Well, the worst thing is we identify something, we make the client aware of it. We're guilty, Your Honor. We attempt to sell it. If we didn't do any of that and that component failed the next week, we haven't met our duty of care. So unfortunately, part of our duty of care is to sell, make you aware of and ask for the business.
That's correct, yeah. In your view, how can systems or daily processes actually build trust and culture, not just track the performance?
Ooh, I love that question. That is sensational. Because, and we can see it from the guys here on their phones right now. Hey, you too. Have a look at them. On their phones, we are buried in our phones.
Yes.
We're buried in our tablets and our PCs. And so we've got a generation, and I've got 3 of them, my daughters, a generation that are very much about this. We are using too many platforms now to not communicate verbally with clients. So we've got a product in the market at the moment. We don't. We see there's another as a supplier of it, and it's in a lot of businesses used in service departments to identify additional work. So it's when some additional work, and I'll use something like front brakes and rotors, rotors and pads require replacement. And so what you'll do is the technician will take a wonderful video, might talk to the video as well. We'll do an electronic check sheet, complete it, goes right through the dealership, parts attached and pricing. Service advisor receives it, sends it electronically to the client, knows when the client's opened it up, and waits for the client to respond. In the good old days, I shouldn't say that, but in the good old days, it would be a handwritten document that would land on our desk, and we would be on the phone, and we would ring multiple times, having set the scene with the client in the morning that I will call you. I will call you to let you know how your vehicle has performed and also confirm your pickup time. A younger generation is more inclined to send that off electronically and rely heavily on the client to respond. No, we need to pick up the phone and talk to them.
Still, yeah.
Yeah, and assist them, because a lot of people will look at it and go, I can't spend that money at the moment. What they don't appreciate is that you're down so thin on your brake pads that you'll be on bare metal shortly, and you need to, for the safety for you and your family, get that job done. And that's the verbal piece that's missing in the market.
Well, I think that, and a lot of times people, they don't pick up the tone in the message, and it can easily be misunderstood, especially from maybe what a technician says to, come across. That's why a good service advisor is a really good communicator, and you really need to talk to them on the phone. I agree with that a lot. It is, it's good to send it, but it should follow up with something.
And look, electronically is wonderful too, because it keeps a record of what's happened as well. So that's very positive. But I'm still a big believer of the verbal communication.
That's where it's good. What's something you had to personally unlearn about leadership as your career evolved?
Whoa. That would be generational change. So I am right in the grey patch of the baby boomers and the X's. That's where I sit. Right now in our workforce today, we have 4 generations. We've got the last of our boomers, we've got our X's, our Y's, and our Z's. And the thing that I've had to unlearn is how to lead and manage Y's and Z's generations, because to treat them the way that I was treated, or how I led and managed in my early years with X's will not work today.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, that might have been a little bit of raised voice desk banging. It could have been a bit of that, maybe. Now, it doesn't resonate. It doesn't resonate. So it's the old fight and flight. We're more likely to see flight today. And so how do we stop that? And we as the older generation in the workforce, need to understand that environment and change. And that's why I also like to attend training, even though I'm a trainer, because I can still learn. Yeah.
Several years ago, when I was working in U.S., I sent out a anonymous survey to all my staff, and I had 3 motorcycle stores at that time, and they filled it. What motivates you? I had a bunch of questions on there, and after I got the data back, I realized that wow, I didn't realize so much. Depending on your age, really what motivated you versus and we had a lot of younger guys, of course. And the guys that were Generation X or maybe early millennials, well, they were motivated by promotions and moving up in the company and how can they, you make more money. And then the younger Ys at that time, millennials and the Ys, it was, when can I have time off? That was the number one motive factor.
Work-life balance.
It's like, wow, it was such a great stark difference between, hey, what can I do to move up and how hard can I work versus how hard can I not work so I can go spend time, and understanding that to then now you have to lead. That is a big change.
And to stick to your previous way of doing it, you would soon run out of staff.
Oh, correct. Yes. Yeah.
Because they just wouldn't start.
That's right.
So, in that sense, that's what I've had to unlearn.
Yeah, that's really good because it's so true. Because, people our age, we look at things so much different than younger generations do. And it is really bad to judge people by that, for sure. What's one leadership principle that you found pretty universal between the different, cultures and markets that you serve?
A principle, maybe I could suggest to you an approach that I've taken towards leadership. That's something that I've always stuck to, and it's worked for me. And I'm sure you'd have come across it at some stage, which is the GROW model. And that to me was always a really good tool to use with a manager or a supervisor to try and get them to take their business to the next level. And so if anyone's watching in there, what is GROW? Just type it in. But it was a model developed, I think it was back in the 50s, by a race team in the US about how to get the best out of their racing team. And so basically it's an acronym that stands for GOAL. So firstly, what's the goal? Issue or opportunity? What is the goal that we're discussing today? What's the reality? Because what we do is we go, I've got this issue, here's my solution. Whoa, step it back. What's the goal? What's the opportunity? What's the issue? What's the reality? What's occurring in the marketplace at the moment? What are the half a dozen things? Oh, you said I was going to bump that microphone. Oh, I did. Yeah. What's the half a dozen things that is the reality of the environment that's creating it or not creating it? So spend time looking at that source. What are the options? Let's not go to one solution. Sorry about this.
Oh, well, that was that.
Got to fix it. Oh, okay. Good. Okay. What are the options? Let's not just come up with one solution. Let's look at a number of them, and then let's rank them. And the one that we pick is the W, the way forward or the win.
Okay.
And the way you start the conversation is based on the current environment that you're in right now. And we've found the topic we're going to talk about. What's your likelihood of success out of 10? You go through this GROW model conversation. It's usually an hour. And you get to the end of it and you ask that same question, and they'll have moved it from a 4 to a 7. Yeah. Great. Let's have a go.
Ah, that's good stuff.
So that'd be one of the principles that I've used. Whether I've been a departmental manager, running a business or consultancy, I've used that.
That's really good. That's awesome. Now,
excuse me.
it's all good. I know your allergies are messing with you.
Yes, there's been a few little learnings.
Brand new environment here in Vietnam. A little bit of bad air, probably too. If
Thank
you
you.
need a tissue there. Now, you have 3 daughters, and you're gonna have grandkids, and they're gonna watch this maybe someday. They're gonna see Grandpa on here, 20 years from now. What is it that you would like to maybe talk to them about on how they can reach, their own true potential?
Wow, I have never been asked a question like that. Thanks, David. And I've got a note here. There was no warning of this question. Grandkids in 20 years' time.
Let's say they find Grandpa on this podcast, and what would you like to let them know?
The sky's the limit. The sky's the limit to find what you're looking for. Oh my goodness, that's a line out of a song. Find what you're looking for and do not give up. Just be dogmatic about your approach to achieve what you want to achieve, because life is full of setbacks and it's how you deal with them to keep pushing forward. Whatever it is. So 3 daughters, 2 horticulturists and a chef have all found their different journeys to those industries and those passions. That'll be a proud moment.
I don't think so. I think by then you'll be able to just hit the button and say, poof, there he is. Here he is right
There's
there.
Grandpa.
Yeah. What's a personal belief that you held early in your career that since now you changed your mind?
I was hoping that you haven't changed your mind, that I've a belief that I've now changed my mind. I started my career at Ford Motor Company in 1987, and I didn't think the world existed beyond the blue oval. I was so submersed and wedded to that organization. Nothing else came close outside of that organization. And it wasn't until I left that organization and started to work for other brands and other businesses. So going from corporate to large family to running my own business and in and out of so many brands, that the industry was there was so much more to it than that singular initial focus. Now, in saying that, though, I have to say this, the vehicle that I drive today, and it's by choice, so I go and purchase my own vehicles, is a Ford.
Yeah. Well, I grew up in a Ford household, so my dad, worked, at a Ford dealership, and so he was the same way, man. I mean, it was
Nothing else
Ford or
existed.
I remember thinking, man, I think that Chevy truck looks better than that Ford. I should never say it. I would never say it.
First on race day.
Yeah, that's right.
And I drive a Mustang Dark Horse, and I absolutely love it.
Cool.
And it's like a full circle back to the brand. And I went to an old mate of mine who retired recently, asked me to come along to a Ford function of retired Ford managers. And I went to this, it'd be 3 or 4 weeks ago, along to this luncheon, and the room was full of people that were way above me at Ford Motor Company in my days, and it was awesome. There was the president of the company was there in his 90s.
Oh, wow.
At this luncheon, and it was just, these names were just blowing my mind, all these 40 years later.
Yeah, that's really, really good. What's something you're working on right now, personally or professionally, that most people wouldn't know you were doing?
I'm a little bit work obsessed, so it usually is under the banner of work. We're developing a training program at the moment. Now, when I say we, it's more a couple of the guys in our team that are putting the work into it. We're developing a workshop managers training program. No one does that that we're aware of in the marketplace. So this is for a foreman or a controller stepping into the role of a workshop manager, managing and leading the workshop. Because you think about it in businesses, in automotive businesses, the biggest employment department is the service department. And then inside that, it's the workshop. And so we've got putting together this professional development program for workshop managers.
Okay.
Yeah, and we're really pumped about it. We think it's going to be great. Yeah.
So that's a shop foreman who's technically leading the techs, and the service manager is pretty much leading the front guys and then the shop foreman.
Yeah, so typically we would see structure of a service manager, and then you would have an advising warranty administration booking and coordination team, and that might have a senior in that through to the service manager, and then all the workshop staff of all the technicians, leading hands and foremans up to a controller. And typically that's where it's gone to the manager. And we're saying they've got to be more than a controller. They need to be a workshop manager. So not only to control the workshop, but to lead and manage the team. And that's the development of the program.
That's really good. Yeah, that's super good. What's the biggest leadership lesson that you've learned through failure?
Oh, I don't know if I want to record this one. Getting caught in corporate politics. That would be having never experienced it before, got caught up at quite a senior level, and it became a lot more than the business itself. It became personal, political, and I didn't realize until I couldn't pull my foot out of my mouth. Yeah. That would be the harshest learning and the biggest fall.
My son, who's 4, watching some cartoon thing that was on there about losing your temper. And, it's like little Jimmy's going to lose his temper. What do? You take a deep breath and you count to 10, right? And I think to myself, man, there's a lot of times that I needed to just and count the 10. Yeah,
and another 10 and another 10.
That's right. Or saying things that we just shouldn't have said. I shouldn't have said, and then you regret that. So that time to reflect before responding or reacting, that's some really good stuff.
Don't send an email in anger.
Yeah.
Seen that happen before.
Yeah.
Don't send a text in anger. Just take time and reflect.
Oh, yeah.
But you know what? The years and the wisdom gives you that. The youth necessarily doesn't.
Yeah, that's right. Or you're really mad about something else and you actually vent through something else that really wasn't the problem, but you exploded and vented through that.
And it'll circle back and backfire on you.
Yeah, I've done that too. Finish this sentence. The best dealerships in the world always blank.
Have the most focused people through strong, modern leadership. And what I mean by modern is that the manager, the leader understands the people, the generations of the people that are working for them, and finds a way to motivate them and bring them on their journey for success.
If you had a dealer principal come to you and say, I have a real hard time with creating vision in my team, what would be a 1-minute coaching on that?
Put together and make sure you have as the first port of call a mission, vision, and value statement that you don't develop, that your people develop with you. So then you've got a guiding principle that you all drive the business by.
That's really good.
Yeah.
We is much better than me, right?
Yeah, I can write one and you can stick it on the wall and it'll fade and fall off in time. But if we put it together and we all agree to it, then we will stick to it.
Yeah, that's really good stuff. Well, Chris, thanks for hanging out with me.
Oh, thank you.
I really, really had a good chat with you. I knew I would. I'm happy I was able to drag you from your vacation to come in and hang out.
No dragging required.
So yeah, that was really good.
Any opportunity to hang out at a Harley-Davidson dealership, you got me. Yeah. And David, so great to finally meet you face to face.
That's right.
We spend so much time online.
That's right.
Yeah, it's just a pleasure to come and visit you.
That's right. Yep. Awesome. Thanks.
Cool. Thank you.
You bet.
All right.
That was Chris Downie, someone who doesn't just consult, but actually rolls up his sleeves and helps leaders build dealerships that work. If this episode made you think or give you something to work on, do me a favor. Please take a moment and share it with a leader in your life. Also, please message me directly. What landed with you the most? What challenges are you working through right now? And I started this podcast to help good people become great leaders, and that only works when we connect. I really appreciate you tuning in. I'm David Archibald, and remember, your potential is not a fixed point. It's something you unlock step by step with purpose. Thanks again.